American interest getting FaceTime with Trudeau's Liberals. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. What if I told you that an American environmental group with an interest in shutting down Canadian industry had hired lobbyists in Ottawa? Would that bother you? Would you wonder why they were trying to influence Canadian laws, regulations, Canadian public policy? Now, what if I told you that not only were these American interests hiring a lobbyist, but this lobbyist was getting FaceTime with some of the most powerful people in the Trudeau government? Meet Aaron Freeman. Freeman is a lawyer, a part-time university professor, and a progressive with impeccable credentials for the Green movement. This is the man that the Americans have hired. Freeman, who once advised Ontario's Liberal government on their wonderfully disastrous green plans, is the lobbyist for the Environmental Defense Fund of Washington, D.C. Now, you don't have to take my word for it that this is an American outfit. It says so right there in their lobbyist registration. Their address is 1875 Connecticut Avenue Northwest, Suite 600, Washington, D.C., United States of America. Now, what interest does an environmental lobby group from Washington, D.C. have with Canadian governmental policy? Well, they want to shut down our natural gas business, specifically natural gas exports. Now, of course, that's not how they put it. They say they're concerned with, and I quote, establishing a regulated target for GHG emissions from natural gas activities, end quote. Translation, push up the price of Canadian natural gas, make it unaffordable. That's not something the Americans will be doing to their own industry. Now, this shouldn't come as a shock that American interests want to shut down Canadian industry. For years now, we've been telling you about the push by the Rockefeller Brothers Foundation, Tides, and others to shut down Canada's oil industry. We've even shown you their PowerPoint presentation where they describe their plan of using Canadian green groups and First Nations organizations to mount a public pressure campaign against Canadian oil using American money. Now that they have a friendly government in place, environmental defense, which is funded by Rockefeller Brothers, they don't need to use front groups. They get FaceTime with the government. Look at who Aaron Freeman has been meeting with to push his anti-Canadian, anti-jobs, anti-industry message. First up, Jean Boutet, policy advisor at Global Affairs Canada. Not sure how much sway they have, but the next two people are a bit more interesting. Freeman met 3 times with Marlo Reynolds, the former head of the Pembina Institute, now the chief of staff to Environment Minister Catherine McKenna. Reynolds was a signatory, along with Gerald Butts, to a declaration calling for shutting down Canada's oil and gas industry. Freeman has met with Reynolds 3 times. Now, you might get 1 meeting if they're not really interested in what you're selling, but 3? They're interested. Then the icing on the cake, Freeman met with Zoe Caron, Prime Minister Trudeau's hand-picked advisor on environmental issues. She used to head up the Sierra Club. All of these people giving an American lobbyist time to push their anti-Canadian, anti-industry, anti-jobs agenda should be worrisome. This is a Rockefeller-funded group that wants Canadians out of work, an industry shut down, and workers sitting idle or installing solar panels that are made overseas. And they're getting the ear of the most powerful voices in government. Don't you think this is news? Don't you think that this is something other media outlets should be all over? But most importantly, don't you think that the government message to this Washington-hired lobbyist should be, take a hike, go worry about what happens in D.C.? This is a government that likes to pay lip service to the natural resources sector, to getting our products to market, to Tidewater. But then they lend their ear and their time to those that would shut down those industries. And that's something that should worry us all.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.